I'm Jamie, and I'm a parent.
And I'm Glenn, and I research video games. Welcome to this episode of Great Games, Better Brains.
For this episode, we're going to be talking about games specifically for the age range of 6 to 12.
Because I've got a 16-year-old, and I've got a middle school kid, 13, and you've got a 12 and a 13.
12 and a 13-year-old.
So our kids are right on the edge of that level. Some of you may be looking for some games specifically for ages 6 to 12. And so we're going to talk about 3 or 4 games that are perfect for that age.
And another thing is some kids are a little bit more mature than others in their interests, so they're kind of on the bubble.
Yeah, last time we talked about some of those games for younger kids, 3 to 8. These games can get pretty complex. So one of the things that you're going to notice about the games that your kids play at this level is there's going to be some frustration. Kids are going to get really tense maybe the first or second time they play the games because they're being asked to do things that are more complex. I remember my daughter playing one of the games we're going to talk about later on called Spore, and she would just almost pound her little fist on the computer desk because she couldn't get things to work the way she wanted.
Right.
But in some ways that's a good thing. We're going to talk later on in some of the later episodes about the idea of flow, of games that need to be hard but not too hard, and where your kids fit in with that. So eventually, by playing these games, they're going to get into the flow. They're going to be okay. The first game I want to talk about is a game called Discover Babylon. About 3 years ago, the Federation of American Scientists did a 1-year study. They researched, well, are games good for kids? And the Federation of American Scientists came out in that study and said, games are great for kids. We got to be using these things in schools. The question that they had was, what are some good games? And they decided, you know what, we can't find any good games. We're going to just design our own. So literally what the Federation of American Scientists did was to design a game called Discover Babylon. And it's designed for 5th and 6th grade kids and for teachers in those grades to use Discover Babylon to teach about ancient Mesopotamia. And you go, yeah. That's
like probably my least favorite.
Yeah, ancient Mesopotamia, that's on the top of everybody's list, but this game is actually pretty cool because what happens is you're in a 3D world and you're literally walking around using the joystick or your mouse to guide yourself through this particular game. And you start off in a museum in Baltimore, Maryland. And you realize all of a sudden there's this huge earthquake, there's some stuff going on, and you wake back up and there's artifacts missing from the museum. And your task is to go back in time, literally to ancient Mesopotamia, gather those artifacts back up, make sure you get the right artifacts, and then bring them back and put them in your museum. So there's a lot of problem solving, a lot of riddles that have to be dealt with, and you have to find your way, and you have to talk with people and interact with lots of different people. But you're also learning about ancient Mesopotamia. And as a former history teacher, it really was a difficult period of time to teach because it's 5,000 years ago or 3,000 years ago, and it's boring. Who cares? And Discover Babylon is really, really cool. And 2 things that make it nice. 1, it's really cool, and 2, it's free. You can download it. Just go to discoverybabylon.org, and you can get this game for free. And the problem is it's just for PC. Mac users will add a lot.
And I'm pretty excited about that because we just had a conversation in the car where we're like, I don't know why I have to learn this anyways, Mom. It's not like it's pertinent anymore.
Yeah, and that Discover Babylon will do that for you. So that's a good game that ages 8 to 12 need to be playing. 6 to 12.
6 to 12?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there's another one that I've actually played. I played Lemonade Tycoon.
Lemonade Tycoon, yeah.
That game frustrates me to no end. Because I have to figure out so much stuff, and I have to buy the right spot to have my lemonade stand on, and then I have to come up with the right recipe and have enough cups and ice and lemons. Yeah,
Lemonade Tycoon is a great game to teach math and economics, and I know lots of teachers are actually using this in schools. So if any of your kids ages 6 to 12 or 8 to 12 are having trouble with math and the whole idea of multiplication and division, that kind of stuff, Lemonade Tycoon is a great game because you got to make money. The better you do your math, and they don't know they're doing math, they're just buying cups and supplies and finding the right recipe and percentages and ratios, and if they do that well, they make a lot of money by selling lots of lemonade. So it's a great game. And I like it because it's on the PC, and you said you found it on...
I found it. I used it on my iPod.
So it's on a lot of handhelds, some of the games that you can get, PCs and handhelds. So that's a good game. You had mentioned, I'm just curious if you remember this game, you had mentioned earlier in one of our other episodes, you talked about My Cafe on Facebook.
Yes, I'm a little addicted to My Cafe. And, well, I discovered Restaurant Empire.
Restaurant Empire.
Yeah.
And what about Restaurant Empire?
Well, it's even more in depth
Really?
because I have to create my menu, and I mean, I literally have to do everything from the bare bones of this restaurant.
So you design the building,
The whole thing.
Design the menu,
Yep.
order the food.
Yeah.
Do you hire waiters and waitresses and
Yeah,
staff and all that
the whole
stuff?
thing from the ground up. I have to do all the hiring, all the decorations. I mean, the whole shebang.
Yeah, this one sounds a little difficult. I've never played it, but
Yeah.
I've heard other people talk about it, and it sounds intimidating at first, but because it's so engaging, I think when I've talked to other teachers, actually middle school teachers have used it to teach economics. Kids don't understand they're learning economics. They're making money in a restaurant. So that's another great game for the age level that we're talking about. One last game that we want to share with you is a game called Spore. You may have heard about this, and the interesting thing about this game is that it came out last year, and lots of people were waiting years and years and years for this game to come out, and eventually it finally came out last year. And it's more focused on science, and basically at this level, kids are going to use the game Spore to design an organism, a one-celled organism, and then that organism develops over time, and you can do all kinds of intervention, but eventually you create this animal that develops, and then other animals, and then you have a town and a city and a civilization and a planet, and it just goes from literally cellular level to space level. I don't know what that word is, but you're starting with one cell and you're working your way up to interplanetary interactions with other people. So it's a really good game in lots of levels, and you can do lots of things with the animals that you create, but it helps kids start to understand mutation and other scientific kinds of terms.
Vocabulary?
Yeah, a lot of the vocabulary, and it's not a perfect scientific recreation, and some scientists, teachers of science have kind of complained, but I don't think that's the point. The point is it's a fun game to play. It helps kids solve problems. They start to think about science in ways that they hadn't thought of before.
Right.
And so it's a really good game. It came out about a year ago, and so check that game out. We've talked about 4 games, right?
4 games. We've talked about Discover Babylon,
Yep.
Lemonade Tycoon, Restaurant Empire, my
Yep.
favorite,
Yep.
and Spore.
Yep. So those are 4 games that you can check out. And next time we're going to talk about some of the brain research, and we're also going to talk about how to configure your game consoles to make them safe for your kids. So thanks for watching this episode of Great Games, Better Brains.
For more information, see mykidsturn.com.
See you next time.